Today in the crypto space, we see the market kind of going sideways. Bitcoin right around 90,800, Ethereum right around that $3,100 mark, and the rest of the crypto space, a mix of green and red. We have a few dips like Sui and Pepe and a few others. However, we have some strength here. Look at HBAR, Render's doing pretty good. We have Algorand waking up a little bit and a few others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that we've covered before, and I think we're due for an update. And that project is called Beam. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the general market. First, we'll scrape through the top 100. Then we'll take a look at Bitcoin. I want to look at the Bitcoin chart like we always do, just as a leading indicator to see what Bitcoin could be up to in the next little while. Then we'll shift right into Beam because, of course, there's a lot of opportunities in those altcoins, particularly within the gaming narrative. Okay, so let's begin. Market cap, slow grind to the upside. We are definitely above that $3 trillion mark. You can see that. Trading volume is starting to look interesting after a nice descent. We've been coming down, not so much volume throughout the weekend. Okay, we did get a bit of a pop throughout the weekend, but ultimately not so much volume. Now you can see we're getting a bit of an uptick here, which is pretty good. Obviously pretty good. Now the question is this going to be sell volume or buy volume? We've been getting a lot of buy volume, guys, in the last little while. And this is one thing that I'm kind of alluding to, is the fact that we should start getting a bit defensive here. Since last week, I've been saying, just start preparing slowly to, basically, raise some capital, take some profit, exit some of your riskier positions, trail up stop losses to defend your gains just in case we do roll over. That way you can secure some of that capital to buy the dip if the market does decide to retrace, because we do see Bitcoin hesitating right here at 90,700, give or take, going sideways. Now, a sideways can be considered a continuation pattern, a nice bull flag, which is very possible. But what about if we do get a retracement coming down a little bit, maybe filling that CME gap that we've all have been talking about, maybe just falling through a short-term volume gap so that we can buy the dip at lower levels? And of course, dry powder right now is super important. So this is what I'm going to be emphasizing in the next little while, is as the fear and greed index shows us that there's a lot of greed in the market, this is usually, statistically speaking, the best time to get defensive. All right, so guys, so raise that capital. Bitcoin going sideways, as I mentioned, definitely a scenario that we got to keep an eye on, because Bitcoin going sideways is a structure that we could pay attention to. Ethereum also, bit of a dip, then going sideways. And if you look at some of the altcoins, XRPs, they've been doing very, very good, almost 83% to the upside in the last 7 days. That's good. Cardano going sideways, taking a bit of a break before maybe a continuation. But I would like you guys to keep in mind, as we keep on going through the market, keep in mind what happens to the altcoins if Bitcoin decides to take a dip. Did Bitcoin do well? It has done well. It broke out and it definitely moved with some strength. Now, if it does dip, the altcoins will take a hit. A lot of your favorite altcoins will come down a little bit, but the recovery will be explosive. And this is why I'm emphasizing the importance of having that dry powder, because this could be maybe a 20 to 30% dip on Bitcoin in the next little while. We don't know when it's going to happen, so start preparing. But when that happens, the altcoins will fall a little bit harder, obviously, potentially a lot harder, but give you the best opportunity to buy in and expect a V recovery, a strong recovery to the upside, and potentially getting an altcoin season. So this is what I'm saying is you might have an opportunity to pack your bags for the next move, and the next move should be a strong one. Okay, so we do see XLM, of course, running up with XRP. That's usually the case. We get a bit of their hash grab action, up 40%, really good there. Definitely 120% in the last little while, guys. You know, HBAR was one of the projects that I kind of DCA'd into a while back ago, and I definitely left it there just in case. And this is the opportunity where you see a stable coin, a project that has been going sideways for a good little while, obviously start to wake up. And obviously green action is something that we all appreciate, especially if a project has been going quiet for a bit, again XRP and so on, and then all of a sudden a wake-up call. Those are the strategies that I like to use. Going sideways is actually healthy, right? Because you have the opportunity to actually make gains if it pops, but ultimately if it goes sideways, you have a stable coin, you have a stable asset with security, with the potential pop to the upside, as can be seen, could be very, very lucrative. Okay, so HBAR definitely doing well today. We have Caspa doing good with some news that it's going to be listed on Kraken, which is a good thing. Obviously, Pole, we have Matic waking up here, up 11.6%, and as we keep on going down, you see a bit of green, a bit of red here and there, but the majority of the market is pretty good. We have OG like VeChain waking up 20% in the last 7 days. That's a pretty good one. We have some other dips like Floki taking a dip, but nothing major because it's been on a good move, obviously. So we got to consider the fact that retracements do happen even on the most bullish projects, right? We see Radium, you know, kind of going sideways, maybe a bull flag to the upside. That's very possible in the next little bit. But you can see that the market is basically mixed, green and red. And all of a sudden, we talk about Beam. Guys, I want to talk about Beam today because I think Beam ultimately has been showing a ton of strength, you know, breaking through resistance. But I think the best is yet to come. And this is why it's so important that we realize that, you know, breaking resistance is great. But once it starts to break resistance, we start to see confirmations that, you know, allow us to get into really good positions and bigger position sizes, because the risk of getting rejected at resistance is no longer there, and the back test for a confirmation is usually a good opportunity to get in at a healthy risk to reward ratio. So guys, stick in here with me. We're going to take a look at Beam, and as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin first, just as a leading indicator. And Quant is waking up a little bit. It's still below the $100 mark, guys. I'm not celebrating until we get to that level, because Quant in 100 has been something that we needed to keep an eye on, because you know, $100 levels where Quant stayed for the majority of the bear market. We have Arweave showing a bit of strength, and as we go down, we see a little bit of strength here and there. Matic, the old school Matic, is running up to that token, or is still active. It didn't get deprecated with the upgrade. At the end of the day, it is still valid to bridge over, so keep that in mind. So they're running in tandem here. So overall, the market is looking good here. Even Tezos is waking up, guys. The OGs, the dust coin, the beamers of the market are waking up, guys. This is a sign of an altcoin season. When you see everything, run. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's begin our analysis by looking at Bitcoin. We're going to get back to the Beam chart, but ultimately we want to take a look at Bitcoin as that indicator. So let's do that. Bitcoin at the end of the day has been doing really, really good. As you can see, it's been doing great. This hesitation right here, it doesn't mean that you have to be fearful of it, but you have to be aware that this hesitation could end up being a dragged out consolidation, or maybe a level of which we see Bitcoin finally retrace a little bit, you know, inducing a bit of pain. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, the question is, after this structure is being built, how much volume do we get into here? Because volume here means that ultimately it's either distribution or accumulation. That's a decision that we have to make, especially as the structure gets more mature. But what's very clear is that there's a volume gap below, an empty space, allowing for a dip, allowing for the price to fall right through with ease. And as we know that we have a volume gap right around 77, so that means that we do have some confluence here to suggest that we could come down and start looking for support right around this zone, confluent with the breakout level, confluent with the CME gap, confluent with, you know, the volume gap, obviously showing weakness. Now, at this current moment, I wouldn't be too worried at this current moment, but I wouldn't be getting into fresh longs on Bitcoin, particularly given the fact that it has done amazingly already. You can see that. And the structure on the 4 hour is getting a little bit more, you know, mature, let's say, to the point that we see it's an upward sloping channel or a trend, you can say. Now, ultimately, statistically speaking, the probability of a breakdown is a lot higher, and the support level is probably the first target. After that, do we fall through the volume gap? And then I'm going to ask you this: what happens to the altcoins when Bitcoin does come through and falls through this level? If it does, guys, that's the opportunity. Now, Bitcoin could keep on going. Bitcoin can hit 100K. That's fine. But eventually, guys, we will get a retracement. And statistically speaking, it's about 4 to 5 retracements throughout the bull run. And statistically speaking, it's about 20 to 30% retracement, which equates to quite a bit of a dip on the altcoins. And this is why dry powder is so important, because we don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. And as I'm looking at this structure, it is definitely very possible for a rollover and then snag and even use the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour as support with the confluence that we have below as well. So keep in mind, Bitcoin is still, in a retracement with momentum. Momentum is definitely trending to the downside. We also have the EMAs facing down with red histogram bars here on the trend oscillator, showing me bearishness still. This is class A bearish divergence on the 4-hour. Does it get invalidated? Maybe. Does it get followed through? Maybe. I would like to say the probability of a dip is quite high here. This is why I'm not getting into any fresh longs on Bitcoin, and I'm also being very, very critical on keeping risky positions open on my altcoins, and in addition, getting into bad entries on the altcoins is not a good idea either. We got to be looking for those dips. Okay, guys, so let's jump right into the chart of the day. Let's take a look at Beam, because obviously we know that some narratives are going to be hotter than others, and the gaming narrative is going to be a really monster, in my opinion. We're going to see it really run. The question is, which projects are going to lead the way? I have a few on my list, on my radar, and Beam is obviously one of them. And as I'm talking about Beam, I just want to make sure and clarify that you get to make sure that if you're getting into this project, that you're buying the correct token. Basically, Beam comes into many forms: BeamX and Beam, right? Depending on the exchange, depending on the aggregator, CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, they will be listed as Beam or BeamX. What you're looking for is an asset that looks like a rainbow. That's the logo. And ultimately, look for the price. The price is at about 2.4 cents as we speak. So you want to get something into that, territory. Okay. So what I like about the price action is the fact that it broke out resistance. And we've talked about this before. If you watch the deep dive that I did release 2 weeks ago, we were at this level, and I was talking to you about the fact is that it would be ideal to see this thing break out. And we are still playing around with resistance, but now it's likely that if we do back tests, we'll be using previous resistance as support, which is super, super bullish. And mind you, it already did that. It broke out, back tested, and bounced beautifully, and it broke out even further. So right now we got some individuals, such as us, that we got in nice and early, that accumulated within this range. And again, I did give you that deep dive with an analysis as well. And I made sure to make it clear that this was an accumulation range. It was making higher highs and higher lows with tons of volume. What does that mean to you guys? Demand is outperforming supply in a level of which tons of market participation is evident. That means that people are accumulating and not selling. And we see that we broke above the 200 daily EMA, bullish. We broke above resistance, bullish. We back tested the breakout, bullish. And now we're making a higher high, super bullish. So now the question is, do we get into a fresh long at the current moment? Things get hectic once you start to see green candles like this. Now we can think of many projects that, they got a green candle and started going and went up 200, 300, 400% in a couple of days. Now, I'm not saying Beam can't do it. Beam it's very possible that it could do anything, right? This market is just, the way it is. It's the wild, wild west of crypto. But honestly, at this current moment, it's a chance that you take that it could come down again and take a short-term dip. Now, it doesn't mean that your long-term spots are at risk. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be buying in. It just means that anticipate that if we do get a retracement, again, I'm going to bring it up one more time. What about if Bitcoin does get its dip? How is Beam going to react? I'll tell you this. It's going to have to test all the support. And because there's support so close by, it's likely to retrace a lot less than any other project that has already moved, that has already expanded, that left lots of volume gaps below, that left a lot of weakness below. There's not a lot of weakness below. In fact, on this chart, we see there's a lot of support, a lot of strength for support going forward if we see the market take a reversal. So this is one thing that I do appreciate about getting in early, is looking for structure and looking for risk to reward ratios that get me in from a position of strength. At this current moment, there's a bit of weakness that we do come down, and maybe we even fall right back into structure, but we got to call it as it is. The trend is your friend. Now let's talk about that. Structurally speaking, market structure, we came down from lower lows and lower highs. At this point, we started pivoting to starting to make higher highs and higher lows, to the point that we've got it confirmed here. Now, could we still come down for a higher low, another one? Who knows how low the retracement's going to be? I'm going to be honest. The likelihood is that we get support any around this level if it does happen, right? So we come down, this would be your buy opportunity. This would be an opportunity to spam buy orders harder than you ever did, because ultimately you've got the confirmation of support. And a spring off of this level, super bullish, because look, as you can see, we are now making higher highs and higher lows and higher highs and higher lows, where the trend is now our friend and it is to the upside. So you can see that once you get these pivot point structure, which are known as change of characters, basically a change of character in the price action, you should start to develop a bullish thesis rather than maintaining a bearish one, when you can clearly see that we're in an uptrend here now, and any dips are meant to be bought. Okay, so let's erase some of this artwork for a second here and start looking at some oscillators. Guys, the thing is moving. It moved out of the range. It broke out of the range. Now we need a little bit of volume, and that's the only thing that I'm kind of waiting for here, is to see some volume kick in. We got a decent one right here. Not enough for me. I would like to see some really expansive volume, so that we can see this price fly. But you can see that the momentum, this is what things get interesting. Momentum hasn't even gotten overbought yet. Okay, this is where the magic really happens, because when we get overbought in an extreme way, we get the major expansions, the green waves, as you can see in the background. We're working on one right as we speak. Look at that. Okay, we're working on one. Now, is this going to be a small one like we have done in the past? I don't think so. Look at the trend. It could be bigger. And the reason why is, look at the trend of the momentum. Clearly upward sloping, very clear. From downwards, right, to getting oversold, now upwards to getting overbought. And overbought brings us this. And we'll take a look at the price action, what happens when overbought. Now, volatility in the short term, you can see that it's hesitating. It's hesitating to get oversold. Could it still happen? Absolutely. And that's that short-term dip that you could potentially get to scale in with a better risk to reward ratio, a better entry. Buying the dips is also a very strategic, thing to do, even in a bull run, accumulating at lower levels, right? So this is what keeps me interested here on Beam. The fact is that momentum is not overbought, and volatility could come down and give us an opportunity to spam some buy orders. So be prepared that if the volatility line drop, that's your opportunity to scale in even further. All right, guys. So also we can take a look at the, let me just get rid of some of this artwork before I move on, so that we got a fresh chart when we come back. You can see right here, we got the trend oscillator, the expansions, guys. Just the whole trend in the momentum of the trend. You can see this. Look at this. Upward sloping, expansions are getting bigger. I appreciate that everything is shifting into the bullish control zone. When we get into the bullish control zone in a very strong way, this is what happens, guys. These expansions is what I want to see. And again, if you go look at the price action and correlate these expansions that I want to see with the momentum and the price action, you're going to see it equates to looking something like this. Look at that. This is what we want again. It's been a while since we've got bullish in with this regard. We've gotten bearish with that strength. Now let's see some bullish strength, and when better to get it than absolutely right now. As you can see, I don't see a reason why we can't see a nice bullish expansion any moment now on Beam, so to see a test of previous highs and ultimately get into price discovery. And of course, guys, it's going to happen. Just be prepared. As soon as this thing starts to rocket, we're going to get into price discovery, and then it's going to be very late for you to be looking for entries with a good risk to reward ratio. And of course, there's always opportunities for entries, so we just got to make sure that we find those setups. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favors. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. See you tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.